this is the slot that the radiator slips into. It's got a rubber pad in it, it's passenger side. Little bit of rust on the radiator support, but when you get to the driver's side, the weld between the support and the bracket failed, and there's quite a bit of rust up in here. So I was thinking maybe I could repair this when I looked at it before, but I'm going to spring for a new one of those. The toughness of the job of replacing it just doesn't make any sense to not replace it. Okay, it's held on by a bolt here, and it's got a nut on the other side, and then there's some bolts, and this is a kind of a raised panel from the inside of the wheel well, and the screw goes in from the wheel well side. You can reach it from here, but since I have the lift and air tools, I'm just going to take off the wheels so that I can get to it easily. This is called a bridge jack. It's a nice addition to the 4-post lift. It bridges between the rails, and it allows you to jack up an entire end of the vehicle so that you can get the wheels off to work on it. Okay. It's adjustable in and out so that you can hit the frame where you need to hit it. And it's got extenders. There's actually a short one in here already. And then there is a long extender. And you can actually use them both at the same time. And then, of course, your pad that goes under the frame. With those extenders, you can actually get a truck up on it. Works pretty well. But it doesn't work for every vehicle, unfortunately. I have a Jeep Wrangler, and the position of the frames just doesn't allow me to get where it needs to go. So I had to come up with a hydraulic jack stand combination that you jack it up, it locks. That's one of the features of this too. When I jack it up, it will lock so that I don't have to take the jack out, put any kind of jack stand under it, and it's safe to work under with the wheels off of the vehicle. Okay, that was the first safety clicking in. This is the safety bracket. Wheels aren't off the ground yet, so I have to back it up some more to the second safety stop. I have earplugs in because I'm getting ready to use the air tools and I didn't hear it click in, so should be able to lower this down to the second safety stop. There it is. I'm on the second safety stop, and now I could safely take the wheels off and work under the car. Okay, the radiator support bolts. It turns out there are two of them in there. or a 1/2 inch. They're located right here and right here. I didn't feel the one on the bottom from the underside, so it's a good thing I took the wheel off because I was able to see it. Unfortunately, the top bolt's going to be a wrench job because, and I think I'm going to get my offset wrench, because the hood hinge bolt is in the way there. So I have to take that off by hand. I've been trying to avoid taking the hood off because I'm working by myself and that would be hard to handle by myself, so I'm doing my best to avoid that. The next step to removing the radiator support is to take a 5/8 inch deep socket and remove the bolts that hold it up. It's going to stay on that bracket, hopefully, and I'll have to pull it out maybe from top. That should be loose now. Maybe the air conditioner's bolted to it. Either that, or we've got some more of that sticky foam. Oh. Nope. Find another couple bolts on the ends at the bottom, and they're going to be 1/2 inch. So 2 more bolts. Okay. These are the ones that I had missed. Right up in there. Looks like can't get the impact wrench in there either, so that'll be a ratchet to take those off. Okay, there's one more bolt right in the center that I didn't see before. It's connected to a rod that goes up to the top of the front of the hood. Have to take that off and then it should come right out. There's a good lesson here. Always make sure that you've got all the bolts out before you try to force anything, because if you don't have a bolt out and you force it, you could break it. Another point I'd like to make at this time is on the driver's side, that bolt was rusted in pretty well. And, you know, the thought crosses your mind, I can just snap this off because I'm going to buy a new part there anyway. Problem with that kind of an attitude is occasionally, depending where the bolt snaps, you might leave yourself a stud that hangs up the part and you can't get it off, and then you really have a problem. So it's worth your while to, you know, use your blaster, penetrating oil, whatever, and work that bolt back and forth and get it out clean, because it can be easier on you in the long run. Okay, we didn't have success with that bolt. It snapped right away. Hardly any pressure on it. It was pretty rusted. So it snapped rather easy. We'll have to replace that. It's actually a whole bracket, a threaded rod. The other thing that I found here is, that's a good example of why you shouldn't go forcing things right away. I found 2 more bolts that are attached to the air conditioner coil here that are holding it on. Had I just gone and forced that, I would have been causing myself way more problems than I was solving. Okay, that socket's not going to get that. That's a 3/8 inch, by the way. I'm going to have to try to get an offset wrench or maybe a standard wrench to fit in there. Okay, the radiator support is off. I did find that I had enough room I could wiggle that thing out without all I had disconnected, and I was able to get a 1/4 inch ratchet with a 3/8 inch socket on it. So that wasn't all that bad. The stud where it broke off, I had to use a punch and a hammer to drive that out of the the radiator support, but just took a couple light taps and that was okay. The other thing that I found is on the far side over there, on that last bolt that held the air conditioner in. You can see it hanging right there. The nut actually broke off, didn't come out, but there's a ground wire attached to that nut, and so that needs to be put back on when we put it back together. Okay, this connection to the air conditioning coil was already disconnected, and looks like the return hose was actually cut off, so that coil can just be taken out of there, so I'm going to get it out of my way.